Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marisa and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 3 priorities for decorating the interior of your home. There are so many different ways you can approach this. Do I choose area rugs first, paint colors first, furniture? How do I decide what to make as a priority and what to kind of set aside? There's lots of different opinions about this. I'm just going to share with you what I feel are my priorities and hopefully this is helpful for you. Hey, before we dive in, if you want to see more videos about interior design, I'd love for you to hit subscribe. I release a new design video every Thursday, and if you tap the bell, you'll be notified every time I release a new video because some weeks there's more than one. If I could only prioritize 3 things when I was adding decor to a space, it would be number 1, the traffic flow and the room layout. Considering where people are going to be going from and to as they go through the space is really important in figuring out your furniture layout. For example, my main floor is just one small open space. Relatively speaking, for the area of the world that I live in, my main floor is considered small. And when we renovated this space to make it more open and to have it work a little bit better for us, one of the things that was not in our budget was relocating the door to our backyard. And it's at the side of the house, and that means there's constant flow of traffic going from the kitchen or from the living room out the side door of the house, whether that's to hang out in the backyard or even just to bring out the recycling or the garbage. There's always a flow of traffic there. So we knew when we were setting out the design for our home that was going to be a real high traffic area. There was not much we could do about it because the square footage of the living room is really only big enough to use apartment size furniture, and we have an apartment size sofa and an apartment size coffee table and 2 small chairs, and we just needed to fit as much seating in the room as we could because we're constantly having people in our home. So we couldn't have our ideal layout because we had this door, so we in our case kind of worked around it, pretend that it's not even really there. But that was an intentional decision to kind of avoid spending the extra money that we didn't have to move the door, which is much different than had you not given that any consideration whatsoever and then decide on your furniture layout and then realize I never gave any consideration to the flow of traffic in this space. So just give some thought to where are people going to be commonly walking from and into. Is there room for 2 people to pass when they're walking past each other? That kind of stuff can end up being the little things that grate on our nerves if we don't think about it right from the beginning. And it really affects how we lay out the furniture. You might decide that instead of putting your sofa against a certain wall, you might want to pull it out and float it in the center of the room and have it kind of create a division between 2 spaces once you take a look at the flow of traffic. A really simple way to check the traffic flow before you actually place your furniture is get a piece of paper, draw out the shape of the room that you are putting your furniture in, and add any doorways or points of interest that people would be walking to and from. And then cut out furniture to move around, and it can be kind of placeholders for where you might want to lay your furniture out. Do it to scale, so like 1 inch square might equal 4 feet of a space. And just try to lay it out on paper in a way that you think, I think I would like the way that this room is laid out. Once you've got your furniture laid out in the space on the paper, then using a pencil, draw lines from if someone was sitting on the couch and needed to go to the kitchen, if they're on the couch and they need to go to the washroom, if they're on the couch and they need to go to the front door, couch to go upstairs, couch to go downstairs. And then you'll have multiple lines going from one piece of furniture. Do that with the existing pieces of furniture, and you might see after you mess around with the layout a little bit that there's actually 1 way or 2 ways that are going to be the best for the least amount of congestion and the best flow of traffic in your home. Now, right up there with the flow of traffic is also the layout. Laying out the room is really important. It will actually help determine the scale and the size of the furnishings that are purchased and brought into the space. So knowing the layout is really important before you pull the trigger on your favorite sofa or that end table that you had your eye on. If you are a visual person and you just want some extra help with that step, one thing you could do is go into the space when it's empty and get painter's tape and tape it on the ground to size. If you have a 7-foot sofa, put 7 feet of painter's tape on the ground, and if it's 30 inches deep, then you make it 30 inches deep and make a rectangle on the floor that represents your sofa. You could also do this with pieces of paper, some unfolded newspaper that you kind of lay out. Whatever you can do to visually lay out the furniture and kind of walk through it and feel what it feels like, even though it's just done 2-dimensionally, might still really be helpful as you're deciding on the size of furniture you need based on the layout that's going to work best for you. Just one thought about laying out furniture. Oftentimes there is this idea that furniture needs to be up against all the walls, and I want my room to feel big and I want to fit the most people in, so let's push all the furniture up against the walls. But actually, one thing you might want to give some serious consideration to is pulling your furniture off of the walls and letting there be some room, some breathing space behind your furniture. Bringing things a little closer together and grounding them on something like an area rug can actually create the illusion that your space is bigger because there's all of this extra space behind the furniture, between the furniture and the walls. Also, it can help create a real cozy, warm, inviting atmosphere. And often when it's pushed back against the walls, it can feel less inviting and kind of stark and, kind of like doctor's office-ish, So consider that when you are working on the layout of your room. The second thing I would make a priority would be the focal point. So every room we go in has a focal point of some sort. And I'm not necessarily talking about something dramatic. It doesn't have to be a fireplace with this beautiful, sculpture or painting or something on top of it. It doesn't have to be big and dramatic, but there will be a focal point in every room. There will be the place where your eyes tend to want to go. And so thinking that through, if the entrance to the room is on one side and when people walk in, they're naturally going to be drawn to see here, what do I want there? And it could just be something as simple as, I know that one day I'm going to want nice art there, so I'm going to leave it for now. Or it could be, I want to make that a feature wall. Let's do some wood paneling, or let's do some wallpaper, or let's give it a different treatment than the other walls because we know that that's what people are going to look at when they come in the room. Really paying attention to that focal point is going to help when the final design all comes together, create this space that feels so well put together because the intention was given early on to know where the focal point in the room is and how we were going to play off of it and make it spectacular. Having a strong focal point not only helps our sight lines, but also going back to the furniture layout, it will come into play when you're deciding where to put your furniture. If there's going to be this spectacular focal wall, it would not make sense to have all of your furniture with their backs to it. So knowing that focal point during this whole process at the beginning, prioritizing the things you're going to select first, definitely is super important because it's going to help the whole design come together. Number 3, the thing that I would prioritize right at the get-go, right from the beginning, is the seating. Now, we've talked about the layout and what that could be and how you're going to select the different seating options for the layout, but also give some really serious consideration to things like longevity. Do you want to invest in seating that's going to last you for like a long, long time, that it's like an investment piece that's going to wear well and over the years it's just going to look great? Or are you more thinking of something that's going to work for you right now, but during the season of life when you have young kids, it's not something you want to prioritize? But really give some thought to the types of seating because that's going to set the expectation. If you think, ooh, I just found this great sofa on sale for $600 with the expectation of I'm going to have it to pass down to my children, your expectation and reality aren't going to meet. So really think about the seating. Am I investing in the seating right now? And if I'm not, then what's the priority? Is it space? Is it comfort? Is it size? Is it color? Is it the overall aesthetic? Like what is the priority? So like I said, we have a smaller living room, we have apartment size furniture in our space, and so we were really limited with our budget and with the size as to what we could get. What we really truly wanted was a leather sofa, kind of like a camel color cognac leather sofa that was gonna wear really well and it was gonna look beautiful, and we just couldn't afford it at the time. So we picked the best that we could with what we had, and to this day, when we sit on our sofa, we're like, oh, darn it. But we had to do what our budget allowed. And so really give some thought to that seating. Another thought about seating is I love mid-century modern. I love some of the furniture pieces that were designed in that era. I think they're beautiful and I love sitting in them. What I have learned is that not everybody loves sitting in them. We have 2 reproduction diamond chairs and I think they're beautiful and I love including them in my space and I like sitting in them. Many people that come to our home do not. So give some thought to the seating. If you are going to have people into your home often, what are other people going to be comfortable sitting in? If you have some pieces like that that might just be a little off-putting to some people, maybe consider putting them in a bedroom or in an office or somewhere that's just going to be for your enjoyment so that when people come to your house, they're not like, this is terrible, you know? You guys, I hope these 3 priorities are helpful as you're making decisions for your upcoming project. One of the reasons why I think that these are the best things to prioritize is because everything else can really be done after. If you've thought through what you want the final product to be, then I can go buy chairs after. I can buy floor lamps and table lamps and area rugs and curtains, and I can add to my design. But the hefty pieces that are most expensive, things that are going to really interfere with quality of life, like the flow of traffic or being squished or uncomfortable seating, those are more expensive to change out over time. So if you give some serious thought, some serious consideration to that, then you can easily build on that with all of the fun stuff that we bring in to make the place look finished and fantastic. I would love to hear what your priorities would be for decorating your home. So comment below, let me know, do you agree with these? Do you have any other ones that I should consider as top priorities? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week at I Am Love.